I have always loved working behind the scenes in all of the missions, organizations, companies, businesses, agencies that I've worked with. I have always loved to work behind the scenes. But if there's anything starting a business has taught me is that you cannot work behind the scenes anymore. But that's also it begins to be more visible when you have friends and partners like Henrietta and Cedric who have a knife to my neck asking me to make this video. So here it goes. So welcome to 96 Royal Beans and Cream LLC. That's our official name. Our website is 96royalcream.coffee. But our brand name, this is interesting. Our brand name is 96 Royal Coffee and Cream. So we are all over the place with that one. So whether you find 96 Royal Cream, coffee, cream, beans and cream, you will find us. Because we're now trying to leverage like GEOs since SEOs are phasing out gradually. So we are using all of those keywords in our brand name. So over the past couple of months, we have been building out the coffee shop, working with contractors, working with vendors, sourcing some items that we cannot make ourselves. But the biggest thing that we have worked on over the past couple of months is working so hard on how to source our coffee from the continent here, like from Africa here to the US. We are going to source coffee primarily from the farmers that we work with Root Africa. If you know me, you know that I have been working with Root Africa for the past 5 years now as the research and communications lead. And we have worked with farmers in Uganda and in Liberia, connecting them with agricultural extension workers here in the US. So these extension agents or extension officers are farmers themselves in the US or agricultural faculties in institutions in the US, also agricultural students in the US. We have mobilized this pool of experts here in the US and connected them to farmers, farming communities, and students in Liberia and Uganda. And with this business, we will be working directly with our chain makers, which are the students, agricultural students basically, the farming communities that we have worked with, and the farmers in the different communities that we have worked with. We are going to source coffee from them. We might also source some cocoa from them as well, but we will try as much as possible to ensure that profit remains in the hands of the farmers. Because our entire model is to ensure that we are able to increase the household income of farming communities. Like nobody who farms, no farmer should go to bed hungry. They should be able to guarantee their next meal. That is our entire mission. So we are hoping that with this business, we're able to strengthen and empower the farmers that we work with, because we're going to source our coffee from them. But the other thing is, we can actually stand behind our coffee. We can stand behind our brand and what we serve, knowing that we know the actual farmers who farm this. We know how they source their coffee, the coffee seeds. We are sure of how they leverage organic manure in ensuring that the coffee is the best organic breed of coffee you would find anywhere else, right? So that part is really important in this whole thing. So happy to work with the farmers that we have in Liberia and Uganda. By the way, did you know that the best coffee on the African continent comes from Uganda? You could fact check me on that. And it probably comes from Bugisu. And this year we've been to Bugisu a couple of times just to ensure that we have that guarantee that, hey, we will be sourcing our coffee directly from you. We will try to ensure that profit remains in your hands and just to guarantee that market. So we would move our coffee from Africa here to the US. We would roast it locally here. We are exploring partnership with local roasters here in Maryland, Craig and Bump and Grind. Those two brands, we would be roasting with them. So we will source them from the African continent, but we would roast them here just to keep the freshness of the beans. It is amazing what I've learned about coffee in the past couple of months. But all of this to say that you would be getting the best of the best at 96 Royal Cream and Coffee in downtown Hagerstown. So the next part of this video would be why Hagerstown? So I came to Hagerstown for the first time in 2023, but I've been around for a while, but I've never been in Hagerstown. My friend invited me to Hagerstown, fell in love with the city, fell in love with how intentional the city is with the city itself, all right? In preserving, the historical sites, the monuments, just the culture of Hagerstown, and which is why we started this coffee shop in the first place. It is important to say that we got a 50K grant from the city, and then we had to match that grant. That's because the city is trying to ensure that downtown Hagerstown continues to be economically viable and with activities. So they're trying to ensure that businesses get started, as businesses are supported, are sustained, to ensure that the city has the economic activity it needs to sustain itself, right? Came to Hagerstown in 2023, fell in love with the city, fell in love with how intentional the city is with preserving the historical side, the culture, and historical, basically monuments, buildings, everything historic in the city, which is why we're able to get a 50K grant, because it is part of the city's mission to ensure that the historical downtown Hagerstown is preserved, it's economically viable, it's economically active. I mean, it has all of the economic activities it needs to sustain itself as a city. Our coffee shop is in a historical building at 96 West Washington in downtown Hagerstown, and that's why that was a requirement for the grant as well. So you could look this up. It is a beautiful, beautiful community of incredible people in Hagerstown or the city council. So this is a shout out to the Hagerstown City Council. Great job in supporting businesses in downtown Hagerstown. So shout out to the Washington County in general, the state of Maryland, and the USA. Okay,